Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, The Intersection. This is Muhammad Ali. In this tutorial, I will show you how to add the validation control. Actually, one of them, the required field validator control, and I will show you how to fix the error message that you will always get if you don't fix it, which is the unobtrusive validation mode. This is part two of showing you how to use validation controls, and you will notice in the video that I have added CSS to my website. So let's start. Continue on with our previous project that we have started for the form validation. What I have done, and I didn't show you the process step by step for the sake of having this video to be short, is I added a CSS folder, and within this CSS folder I will place all my CSS. So let me show you how I did this. What I did is I created this folder. To do this, you right click on the application and then add a new folder, and I named my folder CSS file. Then once I did this, I added my CSS file. To do that, I did right click on the CSS files folder, add a new item, and that new item that I did is the style sheet. So I ended up with this style sheet that you see in here, but it was empty except from the body rule in there, and I didn't use the body rule, so I created an ID on my first section. I called it a wrapper, and I have a header, and I have an H1 inside the header, so I made that margin 0, 0. And then I had a class called date, and I added the rules for the date, and I have a class and I have a tag nav, and I added the rules for the nav. I don't have the navigation done yet, but I did my rules in there. I have a main ID. I could have used a main tag, but I forgot to use the main tag. I used the section, so that's why I had to create an ID, so it will be different than this section here. And then I added a footer rules. And to show you the file itself, just in case you have forgotten it, again, please review part 1. Here's the first section that wraps the whole file, and it ends right here. That's the end of the first wrapper. And then I have the header, and by the way, anything inside the form I can use HTML, or I can use ASP.NET controls. Outside the form here in this area, I can only use HTML. And I have the class date, and I have the ID main in this section applied, and then I have a footer. So always good to review your work before you start using the CSS, before applying the CSS. Okay, and then I linked my CSS style sheet, and let me show you how easy it is within the Visual Studio. So I removed it. Let's go back to the Solution Explorer, Control Alt L. Here it is. And what you do is you can, instead of typing the whole thing, you drag the file itself, not the folder, and just put it there, and it will create the link for us automatically. So let's start save, and let's view my file with the CSS applied to it. Here's what it looks like. Here is my header there. Here's the current date, and here is the ASP.NET navigation. Web controls will go here, so I'll create navigation. I will create the navigation and place them right here. And here is my all my text boxes and my two buttons, and here's my footer, the 2009-2017 extracted directly from the system date. I added span elements because I want to place my validation control right in here, in between the span elements, and I'll show you how to do it inside the source view and also in the design. Let's start with the design because it looks a lot simpler for us. So here we go. I'm going to start by saving everything, and if you look down here, you can see the span control, the span element. If you click on it, the cursor will be just flashing right on that inside that span. So let's leave that cursor there. We will go to the validation controls in the toolbox, and the first validation that I want to add is required field validator. So I'm going to double click on it. Here I got the my required field validator. I'm going to right click on it and go to the property, and the most important two things there, the control to validate, this here, I will click on the drop down. This is for the name, so it's txt name. That's what I named this control. The second thing is the error message. So let's make a nice error message for our end user. Please your name. So if they've forgotten to put their name, we will put it there, and then the text field here, I'll show you that later on, how to use this later on. The name, the ID here, you don't have to change, but some people do. So let's see, required name for this control, and I'm done with adding the required field validator. Let me show you how to do this in the source code, and I'm going to close the Explorer there, go back to the source, and let's go to the oh, I missed my span here, so I am going to put that inside my span, X, and put it right here. Okay, here's the beginning of the control, validation control. Here's the end of it. So let's do the second one for the email. So let me drag required field validator in between my span, and it's easier to work for you at the beginning to work on the design. So let's go back to the design. Here's the required field for the validator. We're gonna go to the property, right click, property, and then control to validate is email, and then here I will say please enter your email, and I'm done. I'll finish all of the other controls and get back with you for the sake of time. I completed all the other controls. Here's the phone. Let's go to the property sheet. I changed the name to required phone. Control to validate txt phone. This is very important. If you don't do the control to validate, you get an error message. And then here's the error message itself. Please enter your phone. That went there. And here is the password. Required pass. txt pass1, because that's what the name of this text box, txt pass1, and then please enter your password. Here is the confirm password, required confirm password. It's txt pass2. That's the name of this text box, txt pass2, and the message, please confirm your password. Age, txt age. The control is required age, txt age. Very important. Control to validate is very, very important. Otherwise, you'll get an error message, and then the message itself is age is required. However, when we test our file on our browser, we will get an error message. So let me show you the error message. So I'm going to right click, view in the browser, and here is the message that we get: unobtrusive validation mode error message. This error message can be solved at least 3 ways, but the easiest way is to add a key validation strings, and the value is unobtrusive validation mode, and this line should go into your web config. And let me show you how. So let's go back to our website and open our web config for our site by going to the Solution Explorer and double clicking in the web config file. Open the web config file. In our first video, we decided the web config file is an XML file. So maybe here within the configuration, and add this line of code. And that will take care of that error message that we have gotten earlier. So let's save it, and let's view our browser one more time. Let's refresh, and here we got rid of all the error message. So if I type in my name there and my email, and let's just put anything here, garbage. Okay, the phone should be numbers, but we're putting this. I'm gonna stop here. Password, and let's do another password. Let's see for this, because it's getting too long, something like that for us. And here I'm gonna see you in the next video. 5, 6, 4. So it's different. We will fix this issue later on. Here's the age, instead of a number, I'll just put garbage there. And if I click, it'll go through. It'll go through. It went. That means it was submitted. If I don't have the phone, if it's a blank, and the email, if it's a blank, then I click submit. I'll get this message: please enter your email. Even though here's the email is not an email, doesn't look like an email. Doesn't look like a phone, but if I click to submit, it'll submit.